That in South Carolina, a change could be on the way for coroners. Now, they or their staff, we're talking about the coroners there, are the people you will likely see at the most sensitive time. But lawmakers are pushing for a change in requirements to be a coroner. And some are now concerned this could hurt smaller counties. So Queen City News anchor Derek Dellinger here in the studio. You spoke with coroners both for and against this legislation. So what did you find out and what could these changes look like, Derek?
Well, the changes as they stand, if it's made law, would do two things. It would require fingerprinting of county coroners. It would also have them have some sort of forensic science degree or certification. Now, that second part is already law, but there's right now a loophole that allows people to enroll in a program but not complete it. Death is never an easy subject to talk about, but when it happens in South Carolina, each and every death by law has to be recorded by a county coroner. And as requirements have changed and as science has become more complex, it's also meant a lot more work. But it's also an elected position, one that lawmakers say has had its failings.
In my career, I have seen coroners, that lack of a better term, violate the public trust, in the way they conduct their business. And that's unfortunate. Again, ultimately, the citizens are the ones that suffer.
State Representative Tommy Pope of York County is one of the sponsors of a piece of legislation that is upping the requirements for coroners. It would include fingerprinting and closing a loophole that coroners say has been exploited, one that allows a coroner or coroner candidate to enroll in a forensic science program but not complete it.
Where that was a point of contention is all you had to do was enroll in it. There's nothing in there that said you must complete it. There is nothing in there that says if you don't complete it, here's the recourse for it.
Carla Knight-Deese is the Lancaster County coroner. She's also training director for the State Coroners Association. She says the association has been fighting for this for years because people would apply and in some cases win election without the proper training. But there are others who think that this is not the way to go. Nada Rutherford is the Richland County coroner who says poor counties would be at a disadvantage.
I think that the bill is short-sighted, because they're thinking about the larger counties. I don't think that they're considering the needs of our smaller counties.
Rutherford says it's not an exaggeration to say that there are some counties who have coroner staff in the single digits, but could be headed by a coroner who has been at the job for decades and may not have the full training.
There are counties in South Carolina who are using their personal vehicles to transport bodies because their county administrators don't have the funds in order to service that county coroner's office. So I'm not a proponent of this bill because I think it cripples those smaller counties who really have had a coroner who's doing an amazing job.
Supporters, however, say it comes down to sensitivity and a degree of integrity with the job.
You have a lot of responsibility and due diligence to be private with the family, to protect them, because the rest of the world wants to know what's going on with them, but you have some due diligence to protect what legally has to be protected. And you want somebody who has the integrity to do so. And you want somebody also who has the clean background to be within your home.
Now, Tommy Pope, who you heard from in that story, the local sponsor of that legislation, he says there is an argument to be made for standardization among coroners' practices statewide, and this legislation could be a small step in that process. Right now, this is something that varies from county to county.